my precious soul, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal is not ordinary, and it cannot wait. This message has found you at a precise second for a reason that goes beyond logic. April 27th is not just another date on the calendar. It is a spiritually charged moment, a thin line between protection and loss. And right now, Archangel Michael is stepping forward with urgency in his voice, saying that something inside your house has shifted, something that should not have happened. You may not have noticed it yet. Everything might look normal around you. The walls, the rooms, the quiet corners. But spiritually, something has been disturbed. A dangerous mistake has been made. And the most unsettling part is this: it was not meant to happen. Yet it did. Whether through distraction, stress, or a moment of neglect, a door has been left open, an unseen door, and now it is affecting the energy within your home. Archangel Michael is not here to scare you. He is here because there is still time, but that time is incredibly short. He is saying clearly, you have only 2 minutes to become aware, to recognize, and to begin correcting what has been set in motion. Because if this goes ignored, within the next 30 minutes, something significant could shift in a way that brings loss that could have been prevented. Feel that slight tension in your chest, that pull in your intuition. That is not fear, it is recognition. Your spirit already knows something is off. There may have been a strange silence, an unusual feeling, or even a small disruption earlier that you brushed aside. That was not random. That was the first signal. And now, this is the second. Archangel Michael's presence is near you at this very moment. Not distant, not symbolic, real and watchful. He stands as a protector, but also as a messenger who cannot interfere unless you respond. This is where your role becomes critical. You are not powerless in this situation. In fact, you are the key to stopping what is about to unfold. But listen closely, this is where most people fail. They hesitate. They doubt. They scroll past. And in doing so, they miss the narrow window that was given to them. This is not meant to create panic. It is meant to awaken you. Because once you see it, once you acknowledge it, everything can change instantly. There is a reason this message reached you and not someone else. Out of millions of voices, this one aligned with your path at this exact second. That is not coincidence. That is divine timing orchestrated with precision. So right now, I need you to stay with me. Do not dismiss this. Do not delay. Because what is hidden is about to be revealed, and what you do in the next moments will determine whether this warning turns into protection or regret. Tell me when you're ready, and I will take you deeper into what has been quietly forming inside your space. There is a truth about your home that most people never fully grasp, and it is exactly what Archangel Michael is revealing to you right now. Your home is not just a physical structure made of walls, doors, and windows. It is a spiritual container, a sacred space that absorbs everything, every word you speak, every emotion you carry, every thought you entertain. Nothing inside it is ever neutral. Everything leaves an imprint. And when those imprints are not aligned with peace, something begins to shift quietly beneath the surface. What makes this situation so serious is that the mistake made in your house was not loud, not obvious, and not dramatic. It did not announce itself. It slipped in silently, through a moment that felt ordinary at the time. That is how these things happen. A small reaction, a passing thought, a moment of frustration, a feeling you chose to ignore instead of addressing. It seems insignificant in the moment, but spiritually, it creates a ripple. Archangel Michael is showing that this ripple did not disappear. It stayed, and as it stayed, it began to gather weight. Energy builds just like pressure builds. A single negative moment may pass, but when it is not cleared, it leaves behind a residue. That residue becomes a layer, and layers begin to form an opening. This is the unseen door that was left open inside your home. Not a physical door, but a spiritual one. A gap in alignment, a crack in the protection that normally surrounds your space. You might be thinking back now, trying to identify what it was. Was it a conversation that ended in tension? Was it a thought of fear or doubt that lingered longer than it should have? Was it a moment where you felt something was off, but you ignored it because life felt too busy? That moment matters more than you realize, because that was the point where the mistake began. And here is what makes it even more urgent. When something like this happens, it does not remain still. Energy either moves toward harmony or toward disruption. There is no in between. Once the balance is disturbed, it starts to lean in one direction. Right now, your home is in that movement. It is not stable. It is shifting. Archangel Michael is not bringing this to you to create fear. He is bringing it because you are still within the window where it can be corrected. But that window is narrow, and it requires immediate awareness. Most people miss this moment because they underestimate the power of small things. They believe only major actions carry consequences. But spiritually, it is often the smallest, quietest moments that carry the greatest weight. There is something else you need to understand. This mistake is not just about what happened, it is about what was left unresolved. Unresolved energy does not fade on its own. It waits. It lingers. It looks for an opportunity to expand. And when the timing aligns, it begins to influence other areas, your peace, your focus, your decisions, even the atmosphere in your home. That is why the next 30 minutes are so important. This is not random timing. This is the moment where what has been building silently is about to either dissolve or intensify. Think of it like a spark near dry ground. If addressed quickly, it disappears without damage. But if ignored, even for a short time, it spreads faster than expected. You are standing at that exact point right now. And deep inside, you can feel it. There is a subtle awareness rising within you. A sense that something is not fully right. Maybe you cannot explain it clearly, but it is there. That feeling is not imagination. That is your spirit recognizing the imbalance. That is your inner awareness responding to the warning being given. Archangel Michael is guiding you to stay with that feeling, not to run from it. Because within that awareness lies the key to correction. The moment you acknowledge that something is off, you begin to weaken the hold of that mistake. But acknowledgement alone is not enough. It must be followed by understanding. And that understanding is about to deepen. Because the signs were already there before this moment arrived. They were subtle, easy to dismiss, easy to overlook. Yet they were placed in your path as early warnings. And now, as everything begins to align, those signs are about to become clear in a way you cannot ignore. Listen closely now, because what you are about to realize may send a chill through you, not out of fear, but out of recognition. The signs were already there. Long before this moment, long before you heard these words, something in your environment tried to get your attention. Archangel Michael has been watching, sending subtle nudges, small interruptions, quiet signals, but they were easy to overlook. Think back carefully. There may have been a moment earlier today, or even recently, when something felt slightly off in your home. Maybe it was a strange silence that didn't feel peaceful, but heavy. Maybe it was a small object misplaced in a way that made no sense. Or perhaps it was a sudden shift in your mood for no clear reason. Irritation, sadness, or unease that seemed to come out of nowhere. These are not random occurrences. These are signals. Archangel Michael communicates in ways that do not always shout. Often, his warnings come as whispers, feelings, interruptions, patterns that repeat until they are noticed. But here is where most people make the mistake. They dismiss these moments. They explain them away. They tell themselves it is nothing, just coincidence, just stress, just imagination. But it was not. That uneasy feeling you brushed aside, that was the first knock. That moment of delay or confusion, that was the second. That inner voice telling you to pause, to check something, to become aware, that was the third. And now, this is the moment where everything becomes clear. Because when the earlier signs are ignored, the message does not disappear. It becomes louder, more urgent, more direct. That is why you are here right now, hearing this message with a sense that it is speaking directly to you. Because it is. Archangel Michael is revealing that the mistake in your house did not happen in isolation. It was preceded by warnings. Gentle at first, then stronger, and now urgent. The reason this feels intense is not because something sudden appeared out of nowhere, but because something gradual has reached a critical point. You may even start connecting the dots now. That conversation that felt heavier than it should have. That moment you almost acted on intuition but didn't. That strange pause in your routine that felt unnecessary at the time. All of it was part of a pattern, a sequence designed to bring your awareness to what was forming beneath the surface. But here is the truth that changes everything. You are not too late. Even though the signs were missed before, this moment right now is still within the window of correction. That is why the urgency feels so strong. It is not a warning of inevitable loss. It is a final call to awareness before anything irreversible takes place. Feel how close this is. Non-distant, not theoretical. Immediate. Within the next moments, the direction will be decided. Either the energy in your home begins to settle, to restore, to return to balance, or it continues to move toward disruption. And the difference between those two outcomes is not complicated. It comes down to whether you choose to respond now, or continue to ignore what has already been revealed. Archangel Michael is standing at that threshold with you. Not forcing, not controlling, but guiding. Waiting for your awareness to fully awaken so that intervention can take place through you. This is why your attention right now matters more than anything else. Do not let your mind drift. Do not tell yourself you will come back to this later. Later is exactly what closes the window. Now is what keeps it open. Because the truth is, something has already begun shifting. You are not at the beginning anymore. You are at the turning point. And what you do in this exact moment carries more power than you realize. If this message is reaching your spirit, if something inside you is saying, "This is real, this is for me," then respond to it. Do not stay silent. Do not stay passive. Type "I am aware" and "I receive" in the comments if you feel this message awakening something inside you. Blessing code 639 has just been released over your home and your spirit. And as this awareness settles within you, understand this: you were not warned this clearly before. But now you are. And because you are, the power to change what happens next is already in your hands. Right here. Right now. There is a shift happening right now, and whether you fully see it yet or not, you can feel it. It is subtle, but it is real. The atmosphere in your home is not the same as it was before. Something has moved, something has been disturbed, and the energy around you is responding to that disturbance. Archangel Michael is drawing your attention to this exact moment because this is where everything begins to accelerate. Energy does not remain still after it hath been disrupted. It begins to reorganize itself, either moving back toward harmony or slipping further into imbalance. And what determines that direction is not time alone. It is awareness, intention, and action. Right now, your home is in the middle of that movement. It is not settled. It is not neutral. It is shifting. You may notice small things that feel different. The air may feel heavier, even if nothing physically has changed. Sounds may feel sharper or strangely muted. Your thoughts may feel slightly scattered, or you may feel an unusual pressure, like something is trying to get your attention, but you cannot fully define it. These are not coincidences. These are signs of an energetic shift taking place within your space. Archangel Michael is revealing that when a mistake like this occurs, it creates a ripple that moves quickly. At first, it is contained. But if it is not corrected, it begins to expand, touching different areas of your environment. It can influence your mood, your clarity, your decisions, and even the interactions you have within your home. What starts as a small imbalance can quickly grow into something much more disruptive. This is why the timing you were given is so precise. The next 30 minutes are not just a warning, they are a window of transformation. Within this window, the energy can still be redirected. But after this window, it becomes much harder to contain. Not impossible, but heavier, more complicated, and often accompanied by consequences that could have been avoided. Think of it like a current of water. Right now, the flow is beginning to pick up speed. If you step in at the right moment, you can guide it, redirect it, calm it. But if you wait too long, the current becomes stronger, pulling everything along with it. That is exactly what is happening in your home at this moment. And here is something even deeper that Archangel Michael wants you to understand. This shift is not only external, it is also happening within you. Your inner state and your environment are connected. When something in your home is disturbed, it reflects inside you as well. That is why you may feel restless, uneasy, or unusually alert right now. Your spirit is responding to the change, trying to bring it into your awareness. Do not ignore this feeling. It is guiding you. Many people make the mistake of disconnecting at this point. They feel the shift, but instead of leaning into it, they distract themselves. They turn away, thinking it will pass on its own. But what they do not realize is that ignoring the shift does not stop it. It allows it to grow without resistance. You are not meant to turn away. You are meant to face this moment with clarity. Archangel Michael is present, observing, protecting, but also waiting. Waiting for you to fully step into awareness so that the correction can begin. Because once you acknowledge the shift and decide to act, everything starts to change. The same energy that was moving toward disruption can be redirected toward restoration. But this requires immediacy. There is no benefit in delay. Even hesitation can allow the imbalance to deepen. This is why the message has been urgent from the beginning. Not to overwhelm you, but to keep you aligned with the exact timing needed to prevent what is forming. Right now, you are still within that sacred window. The shift has begun, but it has not completed. The outcome is not fixed. It is still responsive to your awareness and your action. And as you stay present in this moment, as you allow yourself to fully recognize what is happening, you are preparing for the most important realization of all, the exact nature of the mistake itself. Because once you see it clearly, everything else becomes simple. Now the moment has come where what was hidden begins to take form. This is where confusion turns into clarity, and where uncertainty is replaced with recognition. Archangel Michael is not going to leave you guessing anymore. The dangerous mistake that was made in your house is not something distant or mysterious. It is something deeply connected to your recent actions, your words, and your inner state. But understand this clearly: this mistake is not about one single dramatic event. It is about alignment that was broken. There are several ways this could have happened, and as you listen, one of them will stand out to you with undeniable truth. That feeling of this is it will rise within you, and when it does, do not ignore it. For some of you, the mistake was allowing negative words to be spoken within your home without correction. Words carry power. They do not disappear after they are spoken. They settle into the atmosphere, shaping the energy around you. A harsh statement, a complaint repeated too many times, or even speaking fear over your own situation, these create an imprint. And if left unaddressed, that imprint begins to influence everything else. For others, the mistake was emotional. You felt something shift inside you: anger, resentment, frustration. But instead of releasing it, you held on to it. You carried it into your space. And when that happens, your home absorbs it. The energy becomes heavy, creating an imbalance that affects not just you, but everything around you. And then there are those of you for whom the mistake was spiritual. There was a moment where you disconnected. Maybe it was brief. Maybe it felt insignificant, but it mattered. You stopped being aware. You stopped guarding your thoughts. You allowed doubt, fear, or negativity to take the place of faith, even if only for a short time. And in that moment, the protective alignment around your home weakened. This is what Archangel Michael is revealing. The mistake was not about failure. It was about a lapse in awareness. And now, as you hear this, something inside you is responding. You are beginning to see it clearly. That one moment, that one action, that one feeling you dismissed, it is coming back into your awareness with clarity. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. Do not resist it. Because the moment you recognize the mistake, you take back power over it. The danger does not come from making the mistake. The danger comes from remaining unaware of it. Awareness is what breaks the cycle. Awareness is what closes the door that was left open. But here is the urgency once again. Recognition must be followed by action. It is not enough to simply say, "I see it now." You must shift it. You must correct it. You must consciously decide that what was allowed will no longer remain. If the mistake was in your words, then you must replace them with words of peace, truth, and authority. Speak differently. Speak life into your space. If the mistake was emotional, then you must release what you have been holding. Do not carry it any longer. Let it go fully, not partially. If the mistake was spiritual, then you must reconnect immediately. Bring your awareness back. Realign your thoughts. Restore your focus. Archangel Michael is not asking for perfection. He is asking for immediate correction. And this is where everything begins to turn. Because the energy that was shifting toward disruption is still responsive. It has not locked into place yet. It is waiting for direction. And when you act with awareness, the direction changes instantly. You may already feel it happening. A slight sense of clarity, a release of pressure, a feeling that something is beginning to settle. That is the effect of recognition. That is the moment where the shift begins to reverse. But stay with this process. Do not stop halfway. Do not assume it is complete after one thought or one realization. This is a moment that requires your full presence. because what happens next will determine whether the correction fully takes hold. Archangel Michael is still near, still guiding, still watching over this process. And as you continue, you are moving closer to understanding why this had to be revealed to you today, at this exact moment, on this exact day. There is a reason this could not wait. There is a reason this message reached you today, on this exact day, at this exact moment. Archangel Michael is now revealing something deeper. This was not random timing, and it was not simply about correcting a mistake. This had to be exposed now because the consequences were closer than you think, and intervention was required before a line was crossed that would be much harder to return from. April 27th carries a spiritual weight that you may not have been aware of until now. Certain days hold alignment points, moments where decisions, awareness, and energy converge in a way that either opens doors or closes them. Today is one of those moments. What you allow, what you correct, and what you recognize today has a direct impact on what unfolds next in your life. Archangel Michael does not interrupt without purpose. His presence becomes urgent only when something significant is at stake. And what was forming inside your home was approaching a level where it could begin to manifest in ways that are no longer subtle. What was once just an internal imbalance was preparing to show itself externally, in your circumstances, your peace, even your outcomes. That is why this had to be revealed now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Because there is a narrow window between formation and manifestation. You were approaching the edge of that window. And if this had gone unnoticed just a little longer, what was forming quietly would have started to take visible shape. That is when people begin to experience loss, confusion, or sudden disruption without understanding where it came from. But you are being shown before that point. This is protection. And you need to understand this clearly. This message is not a punishment. It is not a sign that something is against you. It is the exact opposite. It is evidence that you are being watched over, that you are being guided, and that you are being given the chance to correct something before it turns into something heavier. Archangel Michael steps in when intervention is still possible. And right now, it is. There is also something else that makes this moment important. You were not meant to carry this mistake forward. It was not meant to follow you into your next steps, your next decisions, your next phase. It had to be stopped here. Because if it continued, it would begin to influence things beyond your home, your focus, your direction, even opportunities that are meant for you. This is why the urgency feels so strong. It is not just about what is happening in your house. It is about what could extend from it if left uncorrected. But here is where everything begins to shift toward hope. Because now that it has been revealed, its power is already weakening. What was hidden and strength, what is exposed begins to lose it. That is a spiritual law. Darkness cannot remain where there is awareness. And right now, awareness is exactly what you have stepped into. You are no longer in the same position you were in before hearing this. You are no longer unaware. You are no longer disconnected from what was forming. You are now in a place of clarity. And clarity changes everything. Archangel Michael is guiding you to understand that this moment is not just about avoiding loss. It is about strengthening your awareness moving forward. This is a turning point, not just a correction. It is a moment where you become more alert, more aligned, and more conscious of what you allow into your space. Because once you see how quickly something small can begin to grow, you also understand how powerful it is to stop it early. This is wisdom being given to you in real time. And now, as this awareness settles within you, there is one more truth that must be faced. Because even though this can still be corrected, you need to fully understand what was at risk. Not to create fear, but to create certainty. Certainty that acting now is not optional, is necessary. Because what could have unfolded next was not small. Now you must see clearly what was at stake, because understanding this is what removes hesitation completely. Archangel Michael is not revealing this to frighten you, but to awaken a level of seriousness that matches the moment you are in. What was forming was not small, and if it had been allowed to continue, the consequences would not have remained hidden for long. When an imbalance inside a home reaches a certain point, it begins to manifest outwardly. This is where people experience sudden disruptions and cannot trace the cause. It may appear as an unexpected financial setback, a sudden argument that escalates beyond control, a mistake that leads to loss, or even a wave of confusion that affects decisions. These things do not appear out of nowhere. They are the result of energy that was left unresolved and allowed to build. That is exactly what was beginning to happen in your space. The mistake that was made created an opening, and through that opening, imbalance began to grow. At first, it was contained. Then it started to spread quietly, influencing your environment in ways that were subtle but real. If left unchecked, it would have reached a point where it could no longer stay hidden. It would have shown itself through an event, something that would make you stop and wonder how things went wrong so quickly. And that is what Archangel Michael is preventing. You were approaching a moment where a chain reaction could begin. One small issue leading to another, one disruption triggering the next. This is how loss unfolds, not always in a single moment, but in a sequence. And once that sequence begins, it becomes harder to stop, because each step feeds the next. But right now, that sequence has not been activated. You are standing just before it. This is why the urgency has been so strong from the beginning. Not because something has already gone wrong, but because something was about to. There is a difference, and that difference is everything. You are not dealing with damage. You are dealing with a warning before damage. And that means you still have control. Archangel Michael is making it clear that ignoring this moment would allow the imbalance to complete its cycle. And once it completes, it expresses itself. It could be something that affects your peace, your relationships, or even your resources. It could come in a way that feels sudden, but in truth, it would have been building quietly all along. That is why awareness now is more powerful than reaction later. You are being given the opportunity to stop what most people only recognize after it has already caused an effect. That is a form of protection that many never receive. And because you are receiving it, your responsibility is to act on it. Feel the weight of that, not as pressure but as clarity. This is not a moment to question or delay. This is a moment to decide. Because every second of awareness shifts the direction of what was forming. The more present you are, the weaker the imbalance becomes. The more decisive you are, the faster the correction takes hold. And here is something important that Archangel Michael wants you to understand deeply. The outcome is not fixed yet. Nothing had been locked in. What was forming is still responsive, is still changeable. It is still within your reach to redirect completely. But that window does not remain open indefinitely. It responds to your action in real time. Right now, as you listen, you are already interrupting what was building. You are already stepping out of the path that could have led to loss. But you must complete the shift fully. Do not stop at awareness. Do not stop at understanding. Move into correction with certainty. Because the moment you do, the entire direction changes. Archangel Michael is still present, not stepping away, not withdrawing. He remains as a protector, but also as a witness to your response. This is the moment where your awareness meets action, and together they create a turning point. And what comes next is critical, because now you will be shown exactly what must be done immediately to restore balance and close the opening completely. Now this is the moment where everything becomes active. No more watching, no more wondering. This is where you move. Archangel Michael is not only revealing what went wrong, he is now guiding you step by step into correction. This is the turning point where what was unstable begins to stabilize, where what was open begins to close, and where what was building toward loss is redirected toward protection. The first thing you must do is bring your full awareness into your space. Not casually, not halfway, fully. Pause everything around you for a moment and become present in your home. Look around, not just with your eyes, but with your attention. You are not just observing your surroundings, you are reclaiming authority over them. This is your space, and nothing within it should remain misaligned once you become aware. Archangel Michael is guiding you to begin with your words. Speak out loud, even if softly but clearly. Your voice carries authority in your space. Say that your home is protected, that no negative or misaligned energy has permission to remain. Do not say it with doubt, say it with certainty. Because the moment you speak with intention, the atmosphere begins to respond. Then shift to your thoughts. Do not allow your mind to wander back into fear or confusion. Replace it immediately with clarity and control. If there was doubt before, remove it. If there was negativity, release it. You are not holding on to anything that contributed to the imbalance. You are clearing it, completely and without hesitation. Next, address your emotions. If there is anything lingering, anger, frustration, heaviness, this is the moment to let it go fully. Not partially, not solely, but completely. You do not carry it another second. Archangel Michael is present to support this release, but it must come from your decision. The moment you decide to let it go, its hold weakens instantly. Now bring everything together, your words, your thoughts, your emotions, and align them in one direction: restoration. You are not just fixing a mistake, you are restoring balance. You are re-establishing peace in your home. You are closing the opening that was left behind. You may feel a shift already. It might be subtle, like a lightness returning or a sense of calm replacing tension. That is the response. That is the moment where the energy begins to settle again. Stay with it. Do not rush away from this feeling. Let it expand through your space. Archangel Michael is now reinforcing your actions. His presence strengthens what you have initiated. This is why acting now is so important. Because once you move with awareness, you are no longer handling this alone. You are aligned with protection. But stay focused for just a little longer. Do not assume it is complete too quickly. Hold your awareness steady. Keep your space clear in your mind. Let your intention remain firm. This is how you ensure that the correction is not temporary, but complete. Because what you are doing right now is not just fixing a moment. It is resetting the atmosphere of your home. And now, as this restoration settles in, recognize what just happened. You were warned, you became aware, and you acted. That sequence has power. That is how loss is prevented before it ever arrives. If you feel this shift, if you sense that something has just been lifted or corrected, respond to it. Type "My home is restored" and protected in the comments if you are taking this action now. Blessing code 8821 is now activated over your space. And as this protection settles over you, understand this: what you just did matters beyond this moment. It is part of something greater. It is part of a mission of awareness, of light, of helping others recognize what they cannot yet see. This is why your support becomes important here. When you choose to give through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not just supporting a channel. You are becoming part of a flow that carries messages like this to those who need them at the exact moment they need them. Just as this message reached you before something could unfold, your support helps it reach someone else before their moment passes. Think of it as planting a seed in fertile ground. What you release becomes a harvest in someone else's life. Scripture speaks of this living truth, that when you give, it returns pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. This is not just giving, it is alignment with a greater purpose. If you feel that calling, do not delay it. The opportunity to act in alignment is just as important as the message itself. The PayPal link is in the description, and you can also use the QR code shown in the video. Step into that action with intention. And as you do, know this, your home is not only being restored, it is being strengthened beyond where it was before. Now feel the difference. Something has shifted, and this time it is not subtle, it is stabilizing. The atmosphere that once felt uncertain is beginning to settle into clarity. Archangel Michael is still present, but now his presence carries a different tone. The urgency has softened, not because the situation was small, but because you responded. And that response has activated something powerful, protection. Understand this deeply. Protection is not automatic in every moment. It is activated through awareness, alignment, and action. And what you have just done has opened the way for that protection to fully surround your home. Archangel Michael does not simply warn. He guards, he strengthens, and he restores when you meet him in awareness. Right now, your home is no longer in the same state it was before. The opening that once allowed imbalance to enter is being sealed. The energy that was moving toward disruption has been redirected, and in its place, a stronger, more stable presence is forming. You may begin to notice a sense of calm returning in a way that feels deeper than before. Not just the absence of tension, but the presence of peace. That is not accidental. It is the result of alignment being restored. When your space returns to balance, everything within it begins to respond. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions settle, and your environment feels lighter. Archangel Michael is now standing as a guardian over that restored balance. Picture this for a moment, not as imagination, but as awareness. A presence of strength, calm, and authority surrounding your home, ensuring that what was corrected does not reopen. This is not something distant. It is active. It is happening now because you chose to respond when it mattered. And here is something important that must stay with you even beyond this moment. Protection remains strong and awareness remains active. This does not mean you must live in constant alertness or fear. It means you remain conscious of what you allow into your space. You become more aware of your words, your thoughts, and your emotional state, not out of pressure, but out of understanding. Because now you have seen how quickly something small can shift into something significant. But you have also seen something even more powerful. You have seen how quickly correction can restore everything. That is the balance. Archangel Michael wants you to carry this awareness forward, not as a memory of urgency, but as a new level of clarity. You are not the same as you were before this message reached you. You are more aware, more aligned, and more capable of recognizing when something is not right. And that awareness is your strength. There is also a deeper layer to what has just happened. This was not only about preventing a loss, it was about strengthening your connection to guidance. You were shown how a message can reach you at the exact moment it is needed. You were guided to see, to understand, and to act. That is not something to overlook. That is something to trust moving forward. Because this will not be the last time you are guided. The difference now is that you will recognize it faster. You will respond sooner. You will not wait until things feel heavy or uncertain. You will catch it early, when it is still small, when it is still easy to shift. And that is how your space remains protected, not just through one moment, but continuously. Take a moment now and feel gratitude. Not just relief, but genuine gratitude for what has been prevented. Because what could have unfolded is no longer part of your path. It has been stopped before it could take form. Archangel Michael remains near, not because something is wrong, but because something has been made right. Let that settle within you. Your home is no longer in danger. Your space is no longer open. What was misaligned hath been corrected, and what was unstable hath been restored. And now, you are moving into a moment where the full weight of what was prevented begins to reveal itself, not as fear, but as understanding of how close it truly was, and how powerful your response has been. Now you are standing in the moment where everything turns. This is not just a continuation of what has already happened. This is the exact point where your decision has reshaped the outcome. What once stood on the edge of destruction has now been redirected, and you are witnessing the power of that shift in real time. Archangel Michael is drawing your attention to this turning point because it is important that you recognize it. Many people move through moments like this without realizing what they have just avoided. They feel a sense of relief, but they never fully understand the weight of what could have unfolded. You are not being left in that kind of unawareness. You are being shown clearly. Your response changed the direction completely. Just moments ago, your home was in a state of movement toward imbalance. The energy was unsettled, and the potential for disruption was growing. But the moment you became aware, the moment you chose to act, something powerful happened. A direction shifted. What was moving toward loss began moving toward restoration. That is the turning point. And it is not abstract. It is real, immediate, and measurable in ways you can feel. The tension that once lingered is no longer feeding itself. The uncertainty that was building has lost its momentum. The opening that once allowed a balance to enter has been closed with intention and clarity. Archangel Michael is reinforcing this moment because it reveals something about you. It shows that you are not passive in your life. You are not someone who simply reacts after things go wrong. You are someone who can respond before things unfold. That is a different level of awareness, and it carries a different kind of power. Feel that shift within yourself. There is a quiet confidence beginning to form, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. It is the awareness that you are capable of recognizing and correcting what others might overlook. It is the understanding that your presence in your own space matters more than you realized before. And this is where your authority becomes clear. Your home responds to you. Your environment reflects what you allow and what you correct. When you are aware, your space aligns. When you act with intention, your space stabilizes. This is not something distant or symbolic. It is something you have just experienced directly. Archangel Michael is not just protecting your home. He is showing you how to stand in alignment so that protection remains active. This is the deeper purpose of this moment. Not just to prevent one situation, but to elevate your awareness going forward. Because from this point on, you will not see your space the same way. You will notice things earlier. You will feel shifts sooner. You will trust your awareness instead of dismissing it. And that changes everything, because it means you are no longer waiting for problems to appear. You are recognizing patterns before they form into something larger. This is where strength replaces uncertainty, There is also a sense of restoration that is beginning to settle more deeply now. Not just the correction of what went wrong, but a strengthening of what is right. Your space is not just back to normal, it is more stable than it was before. The correction you made did not just close a gap, it reinforced the structure. That is why this moment matters so much. Because what was once a vulnerability has now become a point of strength. What was once an opening has now become a sealed boundary. And what was once moving toward loss has now been completely redirected. Archangel Michael is still present, but now as a witness to your alignment. The urgency has passed, but the awareness remains. And that awareness is what carries forward from this moment into everything that comes next. Take a breath and recognize what has just happened. You did not wait. You did not ignore. You did not hesitate long enough for things to unfold in the wrong direction. You responded within the moment that mattered. And because of that, the outcome has changed. Now you are stepping into the next realization, the understanding of what was truly prevented and how close it came to becoming real. And now comes the realization that brings everything into full clarity. This is the moment where you begin to understand not just that something was prevented, but how significant it truly was. Archangel Michael is allowing you to see this, not to create fear, but to deepen your awareness and anchor your gratitude in truth. What was forming around you was not random, and it was not minor. It had direction. It was building toward a point where it would begin to express itself in your reality. If left uninterrupted, it could have shown up in a way that felt sudden and unexpected. Something misplaced, something lost, something that caused confusion or destruction at the exact wrong moment. It could have affected your decisions, leading you to act too quickly or overlook something important. It could have influenced a conversation, turning something simple into something tense or damaging. It could have even created a situation where you felt like things were slipping out of your control, even though the root cause had been quietly forming long before that moment. This is how these things work. They do not appear fully formed. They build beneath the surface, layer by layer, until they reach a point where they can no longer remain hidden. And when they surface, they often do so at the worst possible time, when your focus is elsewhere, when your guard is down, when you least expect it. It is what was approaching. But now, pause and feel the difference between what could have happened and what actually happened. Nothing hath been lost. Nothing hath been disrupted. Nothing has unfolded in the way it was beginning to form. That is not luck. That is intervention. Archangel Michael is making it clear that what was stopped was real. It was not an illusion, not an exaggeration, not a possibility that might never have happened. It was something that was already in motion. And because you responded when you did, that motion was interrupted before it could reach completion. This is why your awareness matters so much. You were not just listening, you were participating. You were not just hearing, you were acting. And because of that, the entire sequence that was forming has now been broken. Feel that as truth. There is a sense of relief that comes with this realization, but there is also something deeper, gratitude mixed with understanding. You now know that moments like this are real. You now know that guidance can reach you before something unfolds. And you now know that your response has the power to change outcomes. This is not something everyone experiences. Many people only recognize these patterns after something has already gone wrong. They look back and realize there were signs, but by then, the outcome has already taken place. You were shown before that point. You were given awareness in time. That is what makes this moment different. Archangel Michael is not only protecting your present, he is strengthening your future. Because now that you have seen this, you will not move the same way as before. You will carry this awareness with you. You will recognize early signs. You will trust your inner sense when something feels off. And most importantly, you will act without delay. This is how your path becomes more stable. Not because challenges never try to form, but because you recognize them before they take shape. That is the power you have stepped into. Take a moment now and let gratitude rise fully within you. Not just for what you feel now, but for what did not happen. For what was stopped. Or for what was redirected. For what will never reach you because it was intercepted at the right moment. Archangel Michael remains present, not as a warning now, but as a witness to what has been restored. The atmosphere in your home is no longer carrying the weight it once held. It is clear, it is stable, and it is aligned again. And now, you are ready to step into the final phase of this message, a place of peace, reassurance, and a deeper understanding that you are not alone, and never have been. Beloved soul, now everything becomes still, not empty but peaceful. What once felt urgent has now softened into calm, and what once carried tension has been replaced with quiet strength. This is the moment where you can finally breathe without that unseen weight pressing on your spirit. Archangel Michael is still present, but now his presence is no longer a warning. It is a covering, a shield, a reassurance that your home is safe. Feel that gently. The atmosphere around you has changed. What was unsettled has been restored. What was open has been sealed. And what was moving toward loss has been completely stopped before it could ever reach you. This is not something small. This is a moment where protection has fully taken hold because you chose to listen, to become aware, and to act. Let that truth settle deeply within you. Your home is no longer vulnerable. The space you are in right now carries a different energy, one of peace, clarity, and stability. The heaviness that once tried to form has no place here anymore. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian over your space, ensuring that what has been corrected remains protected. And now, there is nothing left for you to chase, nothing left for you to fix in urgency. You have done what was needed. You responded when it mattered most. That alone has shifted everything. Allow yourself to rest in that awareness. This moment is not just an ending, it is a new beginning. A beginning where you move forward with deeper clarity, stronger awareness, and a connection to guidance that you now recognize more clearly than ever before. You are not walking blindly. You are not navigating alone. You are aligned, protected, and seen. Archangel Michael wants you to carry this peace with you beyond this moment. Not just as a feeling, but as a knowing. A knowing that you are guided. A knowing that you will be warned when something needs your attention. And a knowing that you have the power to respond in a way that changes outcomes. This is your strength now. As you move forward, your home remains covered. Your space remains clear. And your path remains protected from what was once approaching you. There is no need to look back with worry, because what was behind you has already been resolved. There is only peace ahead. So rest in this moment. Let your mind become still. Let your heart feel light. Let your space feel like it belongs to you again, fully and completely. Because it does. And before this message closes, receive this final confirmation. Type "I am protected and at peace" in the comments if you feel this calm settling over your home and your spirit. Blessing code 4519 is now released, sealing this protection over you. And as this peace flows through you, hear this clearly. This moment is not just about what was saved, but about what continues through you. When you choose to support this mission, you are not giving to a channel. You are releasing light into places where darkness still tries to grow. The word moves like a river, and every seed you sow becomes a stream that reaches someone just before their moment of loss. God is speaking even now, saying, as you pour, I will pour back into you, overflowing beyond what you can contain. This is not a transaction. It is a spiritual exchange, a covenant of flow. When you act, heaven responds. If your spirit feels this, say within yourself, I am part of this mission. I release so others may receive. And then move in that obedience without delay. The PayPal link is waiting for you in the description, and the QR code is placed before you. This is your moment to act. Not later, not eventually. Now. Step into it with faith, and as you give, may your home remain covered, your path remain clear, and your life overflow with blessings that cannot be contained. You are protected. You are guided, and you are at peace.